speculate about the possible risks that this legislation could face to religious freedom, what's the answer?
Well, I don't think we have to speculate. I think all we need to do is look at the record in the various countries where same-sex marriage has been brought in.
Tell me what did happen in Canada.
Well, the most startling example there is currently ongoing. The Supreme Court of Canada is about to hear a case involving a challenge to the accreditation of a evangelical law school. So what's going on is a very serious debate right at the heart of law about whether diversity will allow different views on marriage. And in Australia, you're going to have to be absolutely aware that your laws have to be crystal clear to protect freedom of conscience and diversity.
So how would that relate to the situation in Australia?
Well, the Australian provisions that I've seen put forward are even weaker than the Canadian ones. So what's happening here is that Australia is proceeding as if there aren't going to be these attacks and challenges on religious people or those who have a conscientious objection to same-sex marriage. And that's a tremendously naive approach, given what we've seen in England or in South Africa or in Canada.
But in Australia, everybody agrees that religious ministers should be protected in deciding who they want to marry. Isn't that the issue?
No, there's a lot more issues than simply who marries and whether you refuse to marry. For example, is your charitable status going to be threatened because you advocate traditional marriage? Or is your school going to be threatened because its curriculum wishes to portray marriage as heterosexual? And no one seems to understand that this limiting it simply to clergy exemptions is woefully inadequate to protect religious liberty and conscience liberty in an open society such as Australia.
But isn't what you're asking for basically a license to be a bigot?
No, you see, this term bigot has to be very carefully understood. The fact that two people disagree about something that is where they have a moral disagreement does not make one of them into a bigot. Because I can disagree with you about marriage and still respect you. It doesn't turn me into a bigot. And it's not unjust to have different conceptions of marriage coexisting at the same time and to protect the traditional one.
So it sounds like no matter what side of the debate you're on, diversity of opinion is a really important thing to protect.
That's correct. In any free and open society, it's extremely important on matters particularly as heated as same-sex marriage to ensure that both sides have their viewpoints protected. Here, what you're disagreeing with is the moral nature of marriage and the moral nature of sexuality. And those are things about which reasonable people are entitled to disagree. And that disagreement needs to be protected and kept open in a free society. And in Australia, you're going to have to be absolutely aware that your laws have to be crystal clear to protect freedom of conscience and diversity.